In 1799, a woman by the name of Elma Sands lived in a boarding house that once stood right behind me here at 208 Greenwich Street in today's financial district. On December 22nd of that year, at 8 p.m., she would leave her boarding house to go secretly meet and marry her lover, a carpenter by the name of Levi Weeks. Now, rumors had been spreading around town that Elma was pregnant, and being that her and Levi were not married, this was a big deal at that time. Elma and Levi decided to get married in the wee hours of the night in hopes of squashing any of the rumors about their transgressions. Elma left her boarding house that night and she would never return home. They would find her body almost 2 weeks later in a well in the Lispenards Meadow area of New York City, today's Soho. Elma Sands had been savagely beaten and thrown into the well. The prime suspect in this case was her lover, Levi Weeks. Now, Levi swore he had nothing to do with this. He said Elma suffered from depression, most likely took her own life. It was hard to imagine Elma beating herself to a pulp and jumping into a well. What also directed the focus towards Levi was that Levi's brother, Ursa Weeks, was a prominent local builder and had built the well that they found Elma's body in. Levi knew that well, very well, so to speak, and he is charged with her murder. This would be the first public recorded murder case in our young country's history. Levi was very fortunate that his brother would buy him the best defense team money could buy. The first lawyer he hired to defend his brother was a man that he had just built a home for up in Harlem and was in debt to him. That man's name was Alexander Hamilton, the first U.S. Secretary of Treasury of the United States. The second lawyer he hired to defend his brother was another man that was in debt to him, and the man that had actually commissioned him to build that well that they found Elma's body in. That man's name was Aaron Burr, a man that we know just 4 years later would go on to be the Vice President of the United States and would murder Hamilton in one of the most famous duels in our country's history. But at this time, they are two young lawyers defending our young nation's first murder case. Levi Weeks is found not guilty. It is said that he had the best defense team money could buy, the dream team, and he walked. But from that day on, it seemed like a curse had literally struck the whole defense team. Levi Weeks had been run out of town by New Yorkers that doubted his innocence. The judge on the case, Judge Lansing, one day left his home and was never seen again, vanished into thin air. Hamilton, as we know, would die at the young age of 47 after his duel with Aaron Burr, and Aaron Burr's political career was over after he murdered an American hero. Now, many people believe that because there was never any justice found for Elma Sands, that she was never able to rest easy, and that she haunts the vicinity of her murder to this day. Now, that well sat at the back of this tiny alleyway here on Green Street. Locals have claimed to have heard screams from the alley, and others have awoken in the night to the apparition of a soaking wet woman fully clothed hovering over their beds. But in the early 2000s, a discovery was made here at 129 Spring Street. A local bistro is expanding their wine cellar, and during their excavations uncovered remnants of the 18th century well. Employees said that as soon as the well was discovered, they had an uneasy feeling, and many unexplained strange things began to happen. Today, a clothing store occupies the building, and they have preserved the old well. Every day, Soho shoppers move about the well, and most have no idea that this 18th century well was at the forefront of our country's first murder case, was defended by our forefathers Hamilton and Burr, and is haunted.